The list of riders who've dropped Tadej Pogačar and beaten him this season, it's one, Wout van Aert. Until now, British rider Andrew Feder, first place, Tadej Pogačar, second place at the Pogi Challenge in Slovenia this past weekend. I caught up with Andrew Feder in this interview to find out exactly how it happened, equipment he used, race day nutrition, and honestly, his answers are both surprising and hilarious. You're going to love this interview. It's Andrew Feder.
The man who beat Pogi, Andrew,
with it.
In the presence of royalty. Welcome.
Hi there, hi.
How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Yeah, nice to be on the show.
Wout van Aert and Andrew Feder. That's the list. The only men who've beat Pogi this year.
Yeah, I think it has to be taken with a pinch of salt though, because he did have a 6 or 7 minute head, behind us kind of thing. So, but
small details.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We don't need to get hung up on that. Like, just go with the headline. You beat Pogi.
Yeah. I mean, I think he set the rules for the competition. So his kind of rules that he set was that he wanted to catch everyone and then obviously finish first across the line. So fortunately, I managed to stay away, and managed to cross the line in first position, albeit he was
So
faster.
for anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, talk us through what was the event, where was the event, what was the format of the event?
So the event was effectively a mass hill climb start in Slovenia, and the event actually started in his home village where his parents still lived. So it was a very local event. Lots of his family and friends were there, kind of thing, and obviously local supporters. I spotted the event online. I think it was on Instagram, and I thought it's right in the middle of my hill climb season. I should be at peak fitness then. So I signed myself up to it and went from there basically. But yeah, it worked out well.
What distance was the climb?
The distance was around 15 kilometers, I think, and I think it had an elevation gain of around 1,200 meters. So it's a big climb. Average percent of around 8%. So
big climb.
Yeah, big climb. And really, really beautiful. You looked across all the mountains in Slovenia when you sort of got to the top, and you actually arrived in the ski resort there. So fantastic climb. And
the fans turned out as well. Like, it was incredible.
It was, yeah. It was like a Tour de France stage finish. You had thousands of people watching at the end, and the event was finished with a local band in Slovenia playing, so I think that also attracted a lot of people. But yeah, it was his climb, I think, that he trained on as a youngster, where he did all his efforts, kind of thing. So he knew it very well, and he beat his own KOM, I think, on there.
Oh, so he went full at it. So what was the handicap at the start, and then what was the gap at the line?
So the handicap at the start, I mean, I've heard various reports. Anything between 6 and 7 minutes, and that kind of stacks up because when I crossed the line, I was waiting for about 3 minutes, and then he crossed the line. So 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes stack up, because I think the net time between me and him was 3 minutes 29, so 3.5 minutes basically. He was quicker than me.
That's pretty solid, like, Andy. That's like, you're looking at Quinn Simmons' performance in Lombardia, a couple of weeks back by the time this airs. And his power numbers were outrageous. If you had a chance to see them for I think he 355 average, not normalized, for the entire day.
Wow.
Like, for over 5 hours. But he was climbing most of those climbs at north of 400 watts. And I don't know Quinn Simmons' exact weight, but I would imagine low 70 kilograms. And Tadej caught him off 2.5 minutes on the second last climb.
He's incredible. I mean, I think for 44 minutes, I did 397 watts, which is around 4.6 kilos. I'm weighing about 63 kilos at the moment. So, massive. He's incredible, basically. So
what watts did you hit again for the climb?
I did 397 watts.
Oh, that's big. It's big for a climb at your weight.
Yeah, and also you've got to take into account there's quite a few downhills in the climb, so that would have taken down the average power. I was consistently looking down at my power meter, and I was seeing around 420, 430. So obviously with those downhill bits, I would have lost a bit of average power. But yeah, it was massive. Yeah.
How did you break the climb down in terms of pacing, or did you just try and ride A to B in as fast a time as possible?
I basically rode my own race and I sort of went out from the outset, yeah, riding my own power and thinking that at some point he was going to catch me. I didn't have a clue how long he was going to be waiting at the bottom kind of thing to kind of catch people, but I'd heard, I think that the organisers had gone off on his deficit on a estimated power of the best amateur riders doing around 5.5 watts per kilo. Um,
Yeah.
and because I did about 6.2, obviously that's probably the reason why he didn't catch me. So, obviously if he'd given himself a bit more of a leeway and he started a bit earlier, he would have caught me. So, um,
It almost would have been cool to get caught in like the last kilometer or something, see if you could hold off.
yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was almost hoping for it to happen really, and obviously I was doing the event as part of a GCN video as well, and they had specifically put on a camera on the back of the bike and also the front of the bike for that moment, but it never happened. So
So you ruined our video.
I ruined their video. Although the cameras did turn off after 20 minutes because they lost battery, so in the end it wasn't too bad.
So you're known for being one of the best hill climbers on the British domestic scene. So anyone that follows, cycling UK, Ireland will have heard your name from time to time. So it's not a shocking surprise. You haven't exactly come from nowhere to pull out this crazy climbing performance. But what was your training like leading into this? You didn't get off the couch to pull out those numbers.
No, so I suppose I'm at peak fitness at the moment, just going into the British Nationals next week. But I mean, this is at the opposite end of the spectrum. So the climb in 10 days' time is a 2-minute climb. So I've been really focusing on those short efforts, so, those 2 to 3 minute real power climb efforts. But because I've got a low weight at the moment, and have been focusing on that high power, I was able to kind of manage to also transition to doing a longer climb as well. But I wasn't specifically training for that long climb. Um, but yeah, I enjoy the long climbs. I think they're really good, and obviously on a short climb like a 2-minute climb, you don't need to be the best climber to win that. A power, someone who's almost a sprinter could win that. Whereas, a 44-minute climb, you have to be quite a decent climber to sort of, do well in an event like that, really.
What's a typical training week looking like for you in terms of volume and intensity?
So I'm pretty unscientific with my training. I try and do around 2 hours per day. Just
Okay.
when I get a window with work and family and stuff, I kind of go out and yeah, just do 2 hours, few hill climb efforts, nothing too specific, and kind of go from there. And then at the moment, obviously, I'm doing hill climb efforts for the weekend in the competitions. Um, yeah, but it's been interesting this year because I've done some testing with Exeter University, some physiological testing, and so sort of VO2 max testing and where my lactic turning points are. Like my lactic, I didn't really know any of this before, but my first lactic turning point and then my second lactic
LT1, yeah.
LT1 and LT2. So I now know what that is. So, which is quite interesting. I didn't before, so they were quite impressed with the results when they did it. So, yeah, it's been interesting doing that as well.
So when you break down and you deconstruct the component parts of going fast in a hill climb, obviously being physically your body light is one.
Yeah,
The bike being light is another.
yeah,
Aerodynamics is another.
yeah,
Power is another.
yeah.
Maybe let's take those in turn and talk to me about how you approach and try and optimize each of those.
So I suppose in terms of weight of body, I mean, I'm not that rigid throughout the year, but in hill climb season, I try and be a bit stricter. And I've certainly noticed within the last couple of years that it's been harder to lose that final bit of weight, especially, so typically, yeah, by the end of October, I want to be 63 kilos, which is kind of my race weight. But it's been really difficult this year, and that's probably just because I've been a bit older, really, and I've had to cut a few more things out. So I'm typically a bit weak for having a massive bowl of cereal before I go to bed. I've had to cut that out. So there's just things like that, really. But that's just, I suppose, part and parcel of getting a bit older. Um,
How diligent are you on? Are you weighing everything?
no,
Are you running strategic deficits?
no, none of that. I just basically, yeah, just I kind of stick to a pretty standard diet. I can tell you if this one's very uninteresting. So I eat a couple of pieces of toast in the morning, sandwich at lunchtime with a couple of chocolate bars, and then an evening meal, pasta, rice, whatever, and probably a packet of biscuits, just a small packet of biscuits before I go to bed, and that's pretty much my standard diet during my hill climb season, which is not
But
obviously
you know
a
what? The
bit of
beauty of having a super simple diet like that means that because sometimes I'll talk to friends on the group, right? And they're like, oh, I want to lose a bit of weight. And you're like, oh, talk to me about what you're eating. It's like, oh, I go out with work for the carvery on a Monday, and Tuesday I meet friends and we have the tacos. Wednesday's the wings. And you're like, I don't even conceptually know where to begin to give them simple advice to start the deficit here, rather than like just skip the wings.
yeah.
But when you have someone with a super like repetitive diet,
Mm,
mine's kind of like that as well,
mm,
like porridge every morning.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, just ditch the biscuits, going to bed,
It,
and you've already created the deficit.
exactly. I know, it's really funny. It's just, and because I do kind of the same volume of training all year round, it's just those minor tweaks and just cutting those things out really does drop down the weight. And if you're patient and you do persevere, it definitely does come down. Um, yeah, so that's kind of works for me, and I've been used to doing that for quite a few years now, really, particularly during the hill climb season. So yeah.
Did you give Poggy any advice like, bro, drop the biscuits and you would have got me?
Uh, no, I don't know what kind of watts per kilo he was doing, but he must have been doing, yeah, a lot. I would have thought he would have done average power. I don't know. Probably if he took 3.5 minutes out of me, I don't know, 450 for like,
Yeah, I was going to say 440, 450, somewhere
yeah,
like that.
probably. But then again, he's a lot more aerodynamic than me riding. So I ride everything out the saddle. I ride the whole climb out the saddle for 45 minutes, whereas he is seated and much more aerodynamic, which will have a factor on the fast. There were some sections which were quite fast kind of thing where he would have taken loads of time out of me, basically, just because of my position. So
Did you, staying on that topic of nutrition and fueling, how did you fuel the effort?
um, I just had a decent breakfast. Had a McDonald's on Friday.
The man beats Poggy off of McDonald's.
So yeah, it was pretty suboptimal. I've not really got the same support as he has around him. So
So you didn't go like, I'm going to do 180 grams of carbs an hour, and it was like,
no, I didn't do any bicarb. I do that for the hill climbs, but I didn't do that. I just didn't have any of that. So but it was very, it was very. I didn't really know what to expect, to be honest, because I came in really late on Friday, so I didn't have any option other than the McDonald's on Friday,
yeah,
and then Saturday was pretty much just kind of normally my weakness is I get to a new place on the first day and I just try and go and smash every single KOM in the area.
yeah.
And I was being specifically told by lots of people not to do that if I was going to do well on the event on Sunday. So I was very restrained and conservative. I didn't do that. I just took it very easy. And then, yeah, I think we went out for a pizza and pasta and things on Saturday evening. So there was no real specific dietary, nutritional thought behind the behind the
So
challenge.
given that you're whacking a McDonald's 2 days before or 24 hours before the race, am I to conclude from this there's not a lot of aerodynamic work done in the wind tunnel?
No,
Or
no, there's nothing. No, no. There was, it was, this will probably make you laugh. I went out there and they deflated my tires in the aeroplane and I didn't have a pump out there. So I was riding the climb at like 30 PSI and I could only
oh,
feel
the
it.
old hand pump?
Yeah, yeah. So I could feel it sort of bouncing up and down slightly when I was riding out the saddle. I was thinking, yeah, this is probably not very good and it's probably costing me a few, few watts here.
Oh, lucky you didn't have the new Zip. Just sent me a set of their new NSW 535 wheels, I think it is.
Right.
But they have the built-in tire pressure gauge. I haven't used them yet, but it displays on your computer what your tire pressure is.
Really?
But I was thinking, yeah, this is a good thing, but it also could totally crack you.
Yeah.
You know, one of those days you just forget to pump the tires, and
Yeah.
you're the hill climber, you're solo, and you look down and be like 22 psi.
Yeah.
Like that's not helping the
Yeah,
morale.
yeah, yeah, and it's funny actually because there was the part of GCN, their production team in Italy came out, and one of the guys was on the start line with me, and I said, "Do my tires feel really low to you?" And he squeezed them. He said, "No, no, 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 fine." And afterwards, he came back to me and said, "Yeah, your tires were absolutely awful. Why on earth didn't you pump them up?" I said, "I didn't have a pump."
But do you wonder if you optimized for those bits? Like, I don't even mean pumping the tires, but even the type of tire, spending some time with aero, pushing the 180 grams of carbs
Mm.
for the effort, how much more performance there is.
Probably there is a little bit, but at the same time, I did do, a really good looking at my sort of power data for that 44 minutes, doing around 400 watts. That's kind of up towards my
Massive.
best. Yeah, that's kind of almost best performance really. So there were probably some, small marginal gains I could make, like by thinking about tire pressure and diet and things before. But I always like to ride on feel as well. Like I always find I do my best rides when I just get purely going on feel, and that's what I did really. I just rode on feel, and um,
We have 3 long form podcasts every week. Some of them are 90 minutes or 2 hours long. And I realize you're busy. Sometimes it's hard to cut through the noise and figure out the signal, figure out what the important parts are of these conversations. So I've taken your feedback, and once a week I'm delivering to your inbox a newsletter called the Saturday Spin. It's a 4-minute read or less, and it's going to break down the very best thing I've learned on the podcast this week. So it's insights from the biggest names in the world tour, physiologists, sports psychologists, and coaches. It's completely free to sign up to the newsletter. All you have to do is go to roadmancycling.com, stick in your email address, and once a week on a Saturday morning, I will deliver the Saturday Spin newsletter direct to your inbox. The link is down below. Go sign up. Did you have that moment? I've only had a few hill climbs, but it's kind of equally comparable in a time trial where you come out at a start gate, you accelerate, you have that initial get up to speed, accelerate, and then you kind of settle into it.
yeah,
And you look down and it's like 580 watts, and you're like, that doesn't feel too bad. Like, I think I might be able, today might be the day I can hold that. And then you fast forward 60 seconds later, you're like, oh, that was a
yeah,
mistake.
yeah. I was a little bit, yeah, because everyone, typically in a mass start hill climb event, everyone goes out like an absolute rocket. So you feel there's an element of pressure, feeling like you have to keep up with everyone. But I just, yeah, I was pretty controlled, and I always find again the hill climb performances and the hill climb kind of scene, you have to be really controlled in your effort. So it's
Yeah.
probably the same in road racing kind of thing, that as soon as you go over that tipping point, your performance, as you say, just giving an example there, just goes drastically downhill really very quickly. So
Yeah.
um,
It's one of those you're trying to somehow keep it right on the edge
yeah,
but if you cross the edge, there's almost no coming back.
that's exactly it. And I find particularly going to the nationals in a week's time on a 2-minute climb, that's a really hard effort to gauge, because you have to obviously go out very hard, but at the same time, you don't want to go out too hard that you're going to absolutely die in that second half. So you've just got to have that ability to kind of manage that really, and it's quite
So
difficult.
what's it, like a 700 watt effort?
It'll probably be like, I don't know, between 620 and 650. I don't know. It just depends. It's about 2 minutes
That's
20.
hard to pace.
Yeah, 2 minutes 20. I think was the winning time from 9 years ago when the British Nationals were held there. Yeah, so yeah, it's going to be
It's
hard.
kind of cool as well to hit like such a short event. I wish we had a few more of them in Ireland. It's like, I think more people show up when it's hill climb. Just feels like some sort of should be against the Geneva Convention somehow. That it's just this 45 minutes of pure on the edge torture.
Yeah,
At least with 2 minutes, it's kind of like, right, it's over.
yeah, it is. Although the short efforts are almost, I find them even. You have to go. Oh, you have to go so deep. It's mentally pretty difficult. And it's such an explosive effort, really. Um, and also, there's a lot more people. I always say in the hill climbs in the UK, if you go over about 4 minutes, you eliminate like 80% of the field. Whereas 2 minutes, there's
Yeah.
a lot more people who can win that really. So it could be anyone's game.
Because you look at even what's Wout van Aert? He must be 75
Mm,
kilograms.
mm.
Like Van der Poel, 74, 75
Yeah.
kilograms. Like the Poggio and Milan San Remo. Like, very hard to drop them two boys going up that, even if you're Pogačar.
Exactly, exactly, yeah. So, the weight is not overly, it's more just, and I've been told, they said, yeah, over 2-minute climb, it's really just pure power kind of thing. The weight, don't be too concerned about the weight, really.
I think
Um,
it's power plus air in your tires could be the unlock for
yeah,
you.
yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm definitely be having a proper. I'll be checking carefully the tire pressure for that one.
Are you thinking the McDonald's could be a superstition now?
Yeah, maybe, yeah. I normally have a celebratory McDonald's after the event, probably not before on this one.
It might be the unlock. It might be the unlock. Did you get a chance to chat with Tadej?
I did, yeah. So we had like there was a big stage where everyone came on to afterwards, and he gave the prizes out, and he said, "Oh, very very fast ride, very good." and he sort of shook my hand, and yeah, he just seems like a really nice, sort of humble guy, really, and just yeah, it was obviously quite a local event for him, so in a way it's quite important because it was kind of his way of giving back to his community, and I suppose, where he grew up, um, which is probably one of the reasons probably why he went to cut the cross the line in first position rather than come across in second. But he should have done
Do
his
you think
research.
he's
He should have done.
secretly
He should have.
raging?
Yeah,
Like he secretly wasn't targeting the Tour. This is the
yeah,
race he was
exactly.
secretly targeting.
This is it. This is a high level season. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
He's going back and he's fucking not talking to him Urska for the rest of the day. The coach has sacked everything.
probably yeah.
Who is this Andrew
Yeah,
Federer? I'm going
yeah.
to destroy him.
But yeah, no, the one thing I did regret actually, because obviously there we're in like in a VIP area after the event, and there's only like 10 minutes in this area, and he was there, and I could have got a photo with him, and I didn't. I was thinking, when I rolled down the hill after, I was like, "Look, you're not going to probably get this opportunity again." I should have gone and asked for a photo, particularly
Yeah.
because I'd sort of, won the event, and but yeah, never mind. In hindsight's a great thing, but I still got the photos on the stage with him and stuff, so that's enough for me, I think.
And the craziest thing with Poggy is like we are witnessing maybe the greatest person to ever ride a bike.
Mm.
And it, as kind of infuriating as it is as a fan, especially if my typical experience all season has been I'll go and do my training ride in the morning, I come home to watch the last 50, 60k of
Mm.
insert classic here, Flanders, whatever.
Yeah,
And you come home on Poggy solo and it's like, oh, it's just like watching a televised training ride.
yeah,
He's ruined cycling.
yeah,
But I don't know. It is difficult to step back from that and appreciate just the enormity of how good this lad is.
yeah,
He's transcendent. He's Jordan. He's George Best.
yeah. He's in,
He's just the greatest ever.
yeah, he's just incredible. I mean, you look at every gap he's got in every race, it's just amazing, and he's just so versatile as a rider. And yeah, it's just incredible, and he just looks so smooth when he rides. So, there was some of the Slovenian television footage of this, the Pogi challenge that he did. He just looks so smooth, and it's the same in the races, Lombardy and stuff the day before. It doesn't look like he's hurting, and it's that which is pretty impressive, really. You just wonder whether anyone's actually putting him at his limit.
Yeah, I remember having Fred Wright on the podcast, and Fred was talking about Tour of Flanders. He got, in his words, kind of the Fred break,
Mm,
the early break for the day where
yeah,
the GC or the main favourites just going to let it go. So Fred was in that move. I think it was the last year or the year before. And then Van der Poel and Pogačar got cleared, main favourites for the race. They rode across to the break. Everyone else was dropped apart from Fred.
right,
So now it's Fred, Van der Poel, Pogačar. Fred's just sitting on the back.
yeah,
And he said they looked at him the way when you're like a Cat 1 and a Cat 4 sits on the back of you in like a handicap
yeah,
race, where you're just like, oh, this dude's no threat. I'm not even going to look for him to do a turn. He said they looked at him like that. He's like, I felt like this small. Like they didn't even acknowledge me as their peer. It's
really,
like they didn't flick the elbow once. He's like, I was just pinned in the wheel, trying to hold on for as long as I could as
wow,
the two of them traded, and then eventually they just rode away from me.
yeah,
It's like it was just humiliating.
yeah. It's crazy. It's just a massive. Yeah, it's just. I mean, yeah, the disparity in the levels. This is just incredible, really. You haven't had that really before, and yeah, it's amazing. But at the same time, he seems like a really nice guy, and like I say, very humble, and sort of even on the prize ceremony, the event was about him, really, and he was obviously the star of the show, and everyone was coming to watch him and to look at him. So there was an element, as I've said in previous articles, that I sort of crossed the line thinking, actually, I'm not really, I'm not really supposed to be here. This is all about him, really. Um, and but at the same time, when he was given the prizes away on the ceremony and on the stage, he was very sort of, he was putting the riders up on a pedestal, really, which was really nice because obviously, he's incredible, and I thought that was just a really nice touch. And yeah, he just his parents were there. His parents were kind of, they were sort of supporting the event and stuff, and I think they did a lot of the work in the organisation and things. So it was a nice local event, and the Slovenian people are so friendly. They're really, really friendly.
What a place to ride a bike as well.
Oh,
Ljubljana, I bike packed through it last year, and it's phenomenal.
it's
I think everyone's sleeping on Slovenia. It's phenomenal.
It's absolutely incredible. They are so friendly, and the roads are so amazing over there. They've got such fantastic cycling infrastructure. So all the roads have got these dedicated cycle lanes and things. I suppose a lot of it's because of him, really, and he's become such a huge iconic person within the country, really. So, but yeah, it's amazing mountains and everything.
Tiny population, Roglic, Pogi,
Yeah,
Mohoric,
yeah,
Jan Tratnik,
mm,
they've just Yanni Brakovic back one generation ago won Critérium de Dauphiné. Like, it's some heritage of cycling for a really small place.
yeah, it's incredible.
Andrew, I really appreciate your time. You're going to be dining out on this story for a long time. It
Yeah,
just kind of has struck me a surname of Federer. It's no real surprise that you're going uphill well.
yeah. But no, it's good. It's a good event. I'm pleased we've done it. So yeah, onwards to the to the nationals in a few days' time.
I appreciate you, pal. Thanks.
Thanks so much. Cheers. Thank you. Bye bye.